Fasten your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Welcome to the Happy Hour Garage, featuring a duo of racing gals who live for the thunder of horsepower, the smell of high-octane fuel, and burning rubber at 200 miles an hour. They believe a day at the Speedway is like a day at the spa. Together, they bring you NASCAR news and interviews and get you ready for the races each week. And now, here's your hosts, Shannon Yoakum and Maureen Kelly from the Happy Hour Garage.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
Hey, welcome to the Friday morning edition of the Happy Hour Garage. And God, it's early for me. It's only 8 a.m. out in the West Coast. But we have a special guest today, and we're going to work around his schedule, and that's just fine by me. I'm your host, Shannon Yoakum, and of course I'm in the beautiful British Columbia, nestled in between a couple of vineyards. But it's a little too early for wine. Good morning. Yeah. Hey,
Good morning, Shannon.
Maureen is with me too, here from Pennsylvania. You're a little bit later. You're almost ready for lunch, Maureen?
Yeah, I am. I have a bunch of plans for Friday afternoons. Unusual for me, but
there you go. Well, you know, I'm pretty excited about this guest, and I'd get up at 4 o'clock in the morning for him because, you know, in the days where NASCAR has kind of become a story about glitter and glamour and big money and unattainability and everybody's aloof, our next guest is a throwback to a time when racing was about American grit, bold determination, and a love of the sport. This guy puts more hours and long days into working on his NASCAR vehicle than anybody else I know, and he does it on a real small budget. I had the pleasure to meet him in Daytona, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But please welcome to the show, Mr. Norm Benning.
Good to be on. Appreciate you calling.
You know, we've been looking forward to talking to you. I don't know if you remember me coming into your hauler at Daytona. I kind of chuckled. I'm down in the truck garage, and I was down there. I was interviewing Hunter Nemechek, and I went over to talk to you, and your hauler is like half the size of everybody else's. It's almost like a large camper, and there you were up in where the bed would go, and it must have been 200 degrees in there, and you took the time to talk to me, and I was sweating myself, but I appreciated that, and we really appreciate you coming on the show because, you know what, you represent the people, the ordinary, everyday, average person, and it's great that people can get to know you a little bit.
Yes, I used to have a big hauler and all when I had Sobe sponsorship, but without the major sponsorship, you're right, it's not worth having that stuff.
No.
Image has a little bit to do with it, but what you race on the racetrack is what really counts.
It is, and you've done some amazing things over your career. You've raced in lots of different series. I mean, you finished in the top 10 in the ARCA, I think 7 times. You've been in NASCAR around quite a bit in Cup. I think you had 4 starts in Cup. And I
had about 35.
Yeah, 35, but in Winston Cup I meant.
Yeah.
But
yes.
Of course, in Sprint Cup you're a lot more around. Tell us about what you're doing these days.
Well, we're going to Kansas next week. I wish we were racing Talladega this weekend, but we're not. Just, I guess, ARCA and Xfinity and Cup are over there in Talladega. It's supposed to rain. I doubt they're going to get the race in Sunday. But, yeah, I've been off for a month, and NASCAR last year cut the fields from 36 to 52. And I don't know why they did, because this year at Daytona, they sent 11 trucks home from the racetrack. In Atlanta, they sent 8 trucks home from the racetrack, and I think Martinsville was 6 or 7. So I'm pretty upset with them right now.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I'd have never missed a race if they wouldn't have done that. And I don't know. Again, I don't know who made that decision, but there's a lot of teams that are folding because there's no place for the independents anymore, the small teams. You look at what Kyle Busch has done. He's brought 4 or 5 trucks to every race. You're not going to beat that Toyota money. And Thursburg brings 4 trucks. Red Horse brings 4 trucks. Keselowski, I don't know, he brings 2 or 3 trucks. So they're pretty much filling up the field with the big money teams. And It's kind of a shame because there's probably 6 or 8 small teams that are getting sent home, and we've been there supporting the series for. I've been there. I've never missed a race for 10 years till last year, and if you look at Daytona a year ago, I was actually on the pole for a while. I ended up 4th fastest with the group qualifying.
Mm-hmm.
And this year I missed it by 1 position.
That's a heartbreaker.
It was terrible.
It was. I
Because I had a
watching
very
that.
competitive truck, in the race, but.
Norm,
So-
do you think if NASCAR comes out with these spec engines in trucks, which I know they haven't yet, but I've been reading a number of reports that say that they do plan to offer them maybe towards the end of the season. Will that help some of the smaller teams?
It will, but the initial cost to buy that crate engine is, I don't know what it's going to cost. I hear all kinds of crazy numbers, anywhere from $50,000 to $70,000 for an engine. And again, I haven't heard anything official, but the initial cost is going to be prohibitive for a lot of people.
Right. I
Right
mean,
now,
NASCAR says they're doing it to help smaller teams. And we've talked to some of the team owners, and the price itself is prohibitive for a lot of those teams.
Right.
Like
I've got
yours.
5 SB2 engines sitting in my shop. They're on average $70,000 a piece. I got 5 of them sitting there.
Jeez. Yeah, that's just money
What am I
doing
going to do
nothing.
with? Right. What am I going to do with all those engines? But,
Can you-
I have heard that they're going to have different weights or something. They're going to let us run these SB2s for a while. Again, nothing's official, but if they do away with these SB2 Chevrolet engines and Fords and the Toyota stuff, you can't use it anywhere else unless somebody uses it on their track late model or something. But so the initial, I wish they'd have done that 10 years ago.
Yeah. Is your plan to still keep going on this in the Camping World Truck Series and try and keep making these races?
Yeah, I'm working real hard to find sponsorships so I don't have to struggle. I'd like to do some Xfinity racing too. It's actually easier, I think, right now to make an Xfinity race than it is a truck race. I know it is.
And that's sad, isn't it? It's I don't know what NASCAR is doing here, but I mean they want big field. Fans want big fields, not small fields.
Right.
32
totally
trucks
agree.
at Daytona and Talladega is kind of ridiculous.
It is. It costs a lot of money to haul down there. Like, just to give fans an idea, what does it cost you to get down to Daytona, stay there all that week, and try and qualify for that race in a rough idea of a dollar amount?
Well, the other things you have to take into consideration is that's when we pay for all our licenses.
Right.
Beginning
Right.
of every year and again, I'd like to see a football player or baseball player have to pay to play, We got to buy driver's licenses, owner's license, crew license, entries. That's at minimum, you're looking at $30,000 to get down here to start the first race because of all the initial costs. A set of tires is between $2,300 and $2,500 depending on where you're at. Just one set of tires. At Daytona, you're allowed to buy 7 sets.
Holy cow!
Most of the tracks you are.
That's like half my wages for the year.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of money. And if you don't get to qualify, then you don't even get anything at all, do you?
Exactly.
Which is not right. You're from Pennsylvania. I saw that you had a sponsorship at one time of a governor. What's his name? Tom Corbett. Of course,
Yeah.
You and Maureen are both. Maureen lives in Pennsylvania now. You don't, I know, but you're both from that state.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from Pittsburgh. But I met the governor up at, I can't remember what track it was now, but I ended up supporting him at Pocono. I had him on my truck at Pocono.
Nice guy. He's nice guy.
I met him and I spent a couple days with him, and I was really hoping he'd be reelected. wasn't meant to be. That he's a good guy.
You know, that's kind of a cool sponsorship. Lately, the politics has come into NASCAR a little bit more than I think the fans like. But a lot of people don't know that you started out as a dirt modified late model racer, and I think I read somewhere that you won a third of the races that you entered in a particular year. Racing those things, and that's of course probably why you had such a blast at Eldora, and everybody wants to know about Eldora, and we'll get to that. But tell us about your early days doing the dirt.
Yeah, I actually, before I did that, I lied about my age. I won a figure 8 championship before I was
That's right.
Before I had a driver's license. But you know, I started out on the dirt, won a lot of races and late models, the old wedge cars. I ran with all the greats, Purvis and Moran and Boggs and all those people, and I won a third of the races in one season. And there used to be there still is a World Dirt Track Championship, and I actually was on the pole. That race ended up picking up a Goodyear sponsorship for a year over that deal.
Nice.
I was driving for people at that point. I didn't have to pay the bills, and well, you know, I thought it was actually too easy to do what I was doing, so I just kept going up the line. I went to ARCA and found out there even that if you don't have the major sponsorship, it doesn't matter how good you can drive. It's equipment. And it's been that way ever since. I've had my shining moments. I've led some races but haven't won. You know, at Daytona, Talladega, and different places. I finished third at the Coin in Springfield there with Tony Stewart and Schrader finishing ahead of me. And again, like I said, last year at Daytona, I really thought I had a shot at winning that truck race. But and then this year I didn't even make it. So, but you know, Eldora's coming, and again, bodies don't mean a whole lot. The worst part doesn't mean anything. It's just more
balls to the walls.
Steering wheel that matters.
Yeah, balls to the walls. You know, that race. I don't think you probably even have any concept of how crazy the fans went. I mean, I think you probably have a bit of a taste of it, but Maureen and I run a number of NASCAR groups and also on Twitter. And those things went absolutely ballistic when you got into on that last chance with Clay Greenfield there. I mean, that was one of the greatest moments in NASCAR in the last 10 years, I got to say.
Standing up and down, screaming at my television, come on!
People were cheering for you so loud, it was unbelievable.
Well, I was just inaugurated into the Hall of Fame here in the Northeast, the Circle Track Hall of Fame. And I learned a lot about that. I didn't know the announcer at the banquet said that I went viral on 3 continents.
You did?
One just the United States, and I was there for 7 or 8 hours, and I was talked about in person. That's incredible. No driver, from what I've been told, has ever done that in any series. And but you know what I did? I used to do every Saturday night. It was wasn't that big a deal to me till I pulled into the infield, and Tony Stewart spot jumped through the window. He told me, he said, "You just made this show a success." And,
you did.
He was really excited. He ended up buying the truck. It's in the museum up at his racetrack.
Oh, that was my next question, because I know you put it up on eBay. So he bought it?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Well, his manager called me up and told me, he says, "You can't sell it. That's part of history. We want it."
Oh, I'm glad that didn't get put somewhere where it didn't belong, or in Junior's graveyard. Mind you, that would have been all right too. I mean, that graveyard's got some iconic cars in it. My favorite being the 42 of Montoya, but anyway.
Yeah. I don't know what to do here without sponsorship. It's just a matter of time. You can't exist anymore without some sort of help, and I've been pushing real hard for that. And if we could get just some sponsorship, I could be a lot more competitive and race harder. And it's just frustrating.
It is.
Right now we're struggling.
And you're not the only one. I mean, I've seen a lot of drivers going for fan cars just to get a couple, $5,000-6,000 and just to exist. I mean, it's getting to be so competitive, expensive, and without that, I mean, you can't afford to. Well, how many people do you have on your crew? 2?
No, I usually have 6 or 7 at the racetrack.
At the track, but full time. What do
Back here, I have 4 people.
Oh, okay.
But,
So you got to pay their wages.
Yeah. That's why I say you got to pay for everything, and the purses aren't big enough to cover those expenses.
No, not at all.
Have you thought of racing in some lesser series? Some dirt stuff. Have you thought about going back to that just to get some bunch of money or sponsorship or some attention?
No, not really. I actually keep thinking about maybe getting an Xfinity car because the purses are bigger and there's a little more money and the competition isn't as tough. But I'm just going race to race right now. And again, like I said, they shouldn't be allowed to bring 4 and 5 trucks to a racetrack, one owner.
Yeah,
it's kind of like what happened to IndyCar. IndyCar was down to 5 owners or 4 owners, and then everybody lost interest.
Yep,
that's right.
Your dad's was a pretty big influence on your career. You can tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, he's down in Haines City, Florida. They're chasing golf balls now.
Well, didn't he win the Dapper Dan award, which is for exceptional character? It sounds to me like the apple doesn't fall too far off the tree there.
Yeah, he won a lot of awards. He raced on the late model level. He ran a few NASCAR races. He never quite made it to that level full time. At the time, Bill France, he had won a race. I think it was Toledo or something. Bill France Sr. came over and asked him to come down and race with them. And, at the time, the job he had paid more than racing, so he didn't do it. But I get upset sometimes. I think about that. I could have been one of those kids who was born with a silver spoon, But anyway, I have no regrets. I've accomplished a lot with very little. I've had 3 or 4 major sponsors and made Sobe famous. Pepsi ended up buying the company. They got so big. And John Bello, who owns Sobe, told me I was the reason his company. I fly airplanes also, and I met John Bello on an airplane. He owned Sobe, and I asked him if he was interested in advertising his product on a race car, and he was, and ended up having him for a major sponsor for 2.5 years. And so at the end of that last season, Pepsi and Coke were fighting over the company because they can't have another beverage company get bigger than them. So
no,
just bought them out.
and then you lost it there.
Yeah, that was the end of that deal, and so here I am. But I've been to the mountaintop a few times, and when you don't have that budget, you have to race to finish. You can't race to win. That's no fun that way.
And I always noticed that I can't get truck races anymore up here in Canada. Once they got rid of the Speed Channel, I don't have access to them anymore. But I used to avidly watch them when I could. And you always, one thing I admired about how you raced, you knew that your truck wasn't the same as, say, Kyle Busch's truck or Hornaday's truck or whoever, and you stayed down low or up high, out of the way. I never once saw you cause a wreck, because you were slower than somebody else. I saw some people do some idiotic things, but you had my respect for that.
Yeah. Well, that's the difference between the young, rich kids and the veterans.
I agree.
Finish first, you must first finish.
Exactly. And you always do.
And I didn't have the amount of tires they had. You got to understand, on these mile-and-a-half tracks, if your tires get 30 or 40 laps on them, you're 2 seconds slower than somebody, at least 2 seconds slower than somebody that just keeps bolt sticker brand new tires on their truck. I mean, they just have so much more grip, and then they make you look bad when they put them on there because you're slipping and sliding around, and they got brand new tires. Mm-hmm. That's all a product of how much money you have in your budget.
And it's so true. And that Eldora thing, I just want to touch on that for a second. How can I word this? Did you see the TV video of the driver's reaction in the garage? And I'll say a couple of them had silver spoons in their mouth. Did you see that?
No. You mean the first year?
The year you got in that last chance race there with Clay Greenfield, 2013, I think that was. They showed on TV, and I was kind of surprised by this, was Richard Childress, the two Dillon boys, Brendan Gaughan, and a couple of others just going ballistic when you won that ability to get in the race in that last chance with Clay Greenfield. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, Richard Childress jumping up and down, he's done something because he's seen it all. And I became really good friends with Brendan Gaughan after that. I actually stay at the South Point Casino and I race out there. That's just,
he's a good guy.
And he's a really good guy.
Yeah,
he is. He is. I always stay out there too when I go there, and I've met him lots of times. And he's one of the good old boys. I say.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All the veterans.
Yeah.
And he's not. He doesn't run marathons or ride 50 miles of a bike before a race either. Chances are he's having a Burger King double Whopper.
Oh, now you're giving away his secrets now.
He's actually head of security out there at South Point. He is.
He
works.
Yes. He does work. Yeah. That silver spoon, he's often said, I've seen him down at Georgetown where he graduated from, and my family's involved with that university. And he often says, my dad always said, I'm going to give you so much, but there's a limit to that. And so this is what I expect in return. And so he wasn't just out there for any of them in his family. They all work. And if you don't work, and his form of payment is actually the ability to race right now. I wanted to ask you, Norma, this is a little bit off that track, but, NASCAR has instituted this new rule, a number of new rules this year, but this is the one. What do you think of the clock system? How does that throw your racing off?
The what system?
The caution clock.
Well, I don't know.
Right.
Chance just for people to put more tires on, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
They can afford it.
No, it's probably when you do get, and I'm sure you'll qualify at Kansas. I have faith in you that you will. But then I guess you'll get to experience it perhaps for the first time there, and you'll maybe have to come back out and tell us what you think about that. I mean, because restarts are not your friend, not when they go in for tires and you're not, right?
Right.
Exactly.
That can't be too good. And like you say, you can't afford tires. You don't have a rich daddy to help you out in any way. Unless it's with your golf swing, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever had another job besides the one racing? Have you ever done anything else for a living?
Yeah, I fly airplanes.
Oh, you get paid for that. Like I read something about let me go back here. Something about the racingexperts.com. You worked as a driver analysis?
Yeah. I've had some offers to do different things, but I fly airplanes and I have cars. I buy and sell cars. I do all kinds of things like that. So racing's almost, I don't know. Racing is my full-time job.
Yeah. But you're, not to give away anything, but you're over 60, let's say. I know exactly how old you are, and Maureen and I are not far behind you. So
not at all.
we understand about creaks and joints and bad weather and all that sort of stuff. How are you doing that at your age? I mean, that's got to be a little tricky.
No, not really.
No? You're in good shape? No health issues?
Nope.
No arthritis? No creaky joints?
No.
What the hell? Are you some kind of anonymous?
Wait a second.
Yeah. You're super norm.
Whenever that starts I'll think about it. But,
And what?
yeah, I work out and all that stuff.
Oh, you do. Good for you. Good for you. What kind of stuff do you do when you're flying around? Like you flying people's planes for hire, or you got your own plane that you rent out yourself and the plane to? How does that all work?
I used to fly corporate jets for Mine Safety MSA,
Mm-hmm.
and I flew charters. My uncle actually, he's a pilot also, and he has a charter service. So I fly charters. I used to have my own plane, and was partners with another guy, and then he crashed the thing twice, landing it, and his wife got nervous.
Were you
Wow.
in it?
It came in too slow, and it stalled the thing like right above the runway. The top
Oh my God.
Life
It's
They're
dropped
flashes.
to
very
14,000.
popular. Those planes,
dropped to
the private planes are really popular up near me. I'm not far from a small corporate corporate jet airport. From 6 to 9 in the morning, the traffic going over me. Not that it bothers me, but I know them. I know and I'm really surprised by how many people take the corporate flights, but they do. So it's very lucrative. It must be lucrative.
You charter a plane. It's you better have a nice budget to do that. But
Yeah, I don't. So.
But I love flying. I've gone down to Hilton Head different places just to go eat dinner and come back. And it's fun.
Very cool.
Do you think you're gonna just to throw this out there, but this Xfinity thing that you're talking about, do you think that's perhaps in the near future? Do you need a sponsor to do that, or are you going to start building some cars on your own, or buy some and modify them?
I would never think about building one. There's so much work involved in building those things.
Right.
But I'd buy one from somebody. Anything's possible at this point. I'm just pretty upset right now with NASCAR fields because I'd have never missed a race.
No. It's unheard of.
I guess they were trying to get rid of the start park guys or something, but there's a lot more interest in the trucks now, obviously, and they need to make room for new teams. I don't understand it, because there were guys I talked to at Atlanta that went home that it was their first race, and they said it's just stuff. There's no sense us wasting their time, And same way at Martinsville. Chris Fontaine went to Martinsville and didn't make the race. And money's no object with him, and he's so aggravated right now he doesn't want to come back. That's that number 84 truck. He's usually got really good equipment. He didn't make that race.
And he's a good little driver too.
Yeah, and his grandfather, I think, owned AutoZone or something at one point. There's some big parts store chain. There's no reason for that. You can't send people like at home.
No.
Put all that effort into it, because then they just turn against it and go race somewhere else.
It almost seems like NASCAR is trying to make the sport a little too elite.
Oh yeah, it's definitely if you don't have lots and lots of money, they don't want you there. I don't think. I'll probably get fined if anybody ever hears this.
Sorry,
nobody can say anything anymore. Tony Stewart was making a comment on a safety issue and got fined. I can't believe they did that.
Not only did they fine him, but they corrected the issue.
And
didn't refund him.
Right. Yeah, they did exactly what he thought they should do. Guys, he was hurt. He didn't want to end up going out there and losing a wheel because he got 3 lung nuts or something. And he was concerned about it, voiced his opinion, and got in trouble for it. And there were probably a lot more fans in those stands because of Tony Stewart racing again.
Yes. Yeah, it was.
These people don't care about these young kids. They care about the people they've been watching.
That's
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
That's been our experience, and we've interviewed a lot of the drivers, and the favorites of the ones we interview are the guys who've been racing a long time.
Hornaday.
Yeah, absolutely. We could put up an interview of some of the young guys, some of the ones, that you really, you can say, well, they're going to be doing some nice racing coming up. But it's not as appealing to the NASCAR fans as hearing
Yep.
your story. Ron, we've had him on a number of times. That's what fans like. They just want to race. They just want to see racing. Adding all this other crap to it takes away from, what the race
Mike
fans
Skinner.
experience.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mike
there you
Skinner's
have it.
a good friend
Yep.
of mine, but he lost his ride because so much did come along. And, Florida Day and Skinner were out there racing against each other. I mean, it was exciting, and I'm good friends with both of them. And what are they doing now? I talked to Mike Skinner's wife.
Hornaday
on the radio a while back. But,
Hornaday builds chassis for dirt cars. He's got his own business.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
he says
He can't afford to race.
he still says that if he had a sponsor and a truck man, he just like you, he'd be out there.
Yep.
I hope he comes back because that's the people that built the sport, and again, these new kids coming out there because daddy can afford to put them in a Kyle Busch truck is ridiculous.
It is, and if you look at the average age of fans in the stands, they're not 20, they're 50 something, and they like guys like you because you add flavor and color and interest and gives them something to talk about. Ooh.
If I had a sponsor, I would add a lot of color.
Oh, you would.
It would be fun.
You
'Cause
would.
I would love to race the way I'm capable of racing, but I just can't afford to go out there and wreck trucks.
Maybe our show.
And even if you take sides off the trucks, those bodies are $14,000, and I'm just saying, just tin damage, not wrecking it, just damage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I can't afford to do that every week. But I wish I could go out there and not worry about it because I'd be up in the top 5 every week.
Well, imagine if let's go to Eldora because you're obviously fantastic there. Imagine if you get in that race and win that race, you're in that so-called chase, right?
That's exactly what my plan is.
Yes.
I know I can win that race. I just, that's why I'm going there.
We know you can win it too, and we'll try our very best to get some interest for you. And hopefully, the show will get somebody's attention and realize that they should slap some money at you there and put their name on the side of your truck because it's going to get a lot of attention.
That I guarantee.
Yes.
Every year it does.
Yes.
Last year, everybody was disappointed because I wasn't in that last chance race. I finished third in my heat race and didn't have to run it.
Yes.
Tony Stewart and all those people were disappointed. They were looking forward to watching me battle again.
Yeah, that was good. I mean, the one that I think that is actually your best finish, isn't it? Is in that heat race number when you finished third.
Third, yeah.
Yeah, and you were in the six truck that time.
Yep.
That was cool.
Yeah, it was
So
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
What's
Well,
your favorite
again,
track? What's your favorite track
Daytona.
on the circuit? Daytona, right?
I grew up there. I started going there when I was 10 years old, and I sat in turn 4 there and wouldn't wait till I could get on that racetrack. But, it's, I think, pretty much everybody's favorite is Daytona.
That's why you wished you were racing this weekend at Dega, huh? It's a great equalizer. That's what Shannon and I always say. The super speedways, they sort of are a great equalizer for a lot of the trucks.
If you look at my record at Daytona and Talladega for the last 4 years, I've been very, very, I don't know, in the lead lap up to top 10. But this year, I couldn't believe what happened to me there because I ran faster than I ever. That's another point I can make. I've run faster this year than I've ever run my lap times and didn't make races. There's something wrong with that.
There is.
It's not like I slowed down. I've gotten faster. I bought new equipment. But again, Kyle Busch doesn't need to be in that truck series.
No.
Have 5 trucks there, and neither does
Keselowski and
Dillon's.
It's true.
It just lets the rich kids take over because they can afford to pay their bills and put them in top-notch equipment.
I like the quote that you had once. You said that if I drove Jeff Gordon's car and Jeff Gordon drove my truck, guess who'd finish first?
Well, no, what that was actually Kyle Busch at Michigan. I don't know if you remember this or not. Colin Brown and Kyle Busch were racing for the win, and I ended up finishing 16th, but I was on the lead lap till 3 laps to go. And Kyle Busch, going into turn 1, I was on the yellow line. He drove underneath me onto the apron, tried to shove me up into Colin Brown, and I made a left turn and kind of put him into the grass. But, I told him after the race, I said, anytime you want to switch seats, you drive my truck, I'll drive your truck. Let's see what happens. He just walked away.
Did he really? Wow.
That's not very good.
But he's respected me since. He's never tried any of that stupid stuff. But the guy's got the world by the tail. I mean, it's just taking the small team's fun away by doing what he's doing.
He is, and a lot of fans don't like him racing in these lower series. There's a lot of pressure on NASCAR to stop that.
That's right.
Well, he isn't racing at Kansas, from what I hear.
No, he's not, but he's not, but, he's even ruined. I hate to, no, I'm just going to use the word. To me, it ruins the Xfinity races as well.
It does.
I get so annoyed. I wait my whole week for either a football game or the races, and then I have to sit there and just watch where a couple of cars are at the front and just whipping around, and it's Kyle. It's absolutely annoying.
5 cars.
Yeah, it's not racing, and something has to be done. And my personal feeling is NASCAR needs to back out and quit all these rules or whatever. The thing they need to do is limit the number of cars, that can be in that Xfinity and in the truck field.
Yep.
Limit the number of cars for the guys who drive Cup. They really have to.
If you go back to 2 years ago, the rules in the truck series, and I believe they were in the Xfinity series too, is the drivers that attempted all the races had the top 25 drivers who started all the races had to work guaranteed in the show.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the rest of the field was determined by qualifying. And that protected us regular people. And they took that away.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate.
And Elton Sawyer and everybody I can talk to about it, I've said that. I said, we need to go back to the way it was and give the small teams a chance to be in the race. Instead of taking care of these people that show up for one race with top-notch equipment. It's just, but there's a haves and have-nots, and I'm on the wrong side of the fence.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because your side of the fence is what people like to watch, and NASCAR mistakenly believes that these guys in the show make people watch, but if you look at the grandstands, that's simply not true. And
right.
And even people like me who watch every single race that I can of any kind of racing have stopped watching it.
Yeah, Atlanta, it was I couldn't believe. Well, Martinsville, Atlanta, Daytona. I mean, it was just bad.
It was, but you're gonna get it in Kansas. I know you are, and you're gonna get out there. And when Eldora comes around, we're gonna see you up in the front there. I know it. I have faith in you.
I'm gonna cause so much trouble if I can. And
yeah, but you wouldn't be the only one. We have talked to numerous guys from the truck series and even from Xfinity, and they're all, you need like your own union, the union of ownership at that lower end, because it's not right.
If you talk about that stuff, you're in trouble.
Yeah. But, we know how that goes.
Just have a few beers.
I devoted 10 years of my life to this series, and this is what they did to me, and it's just not fair.
No.
So I'm not real happy right now. I'm just doing the best I can and trying really hard to find some sponsorship to go out there.
Do you have somebody to help you with that, or do you do that yourself?
Yeah, I have probably 4 or 5 people working on that. But there's a lot of teams out there without sponsors. Sponsors are tough to get.
Yes.
And especially with what it costs now. I mean, again, the cost has gotten out of hand.
It has. It has.
I don't know how you control it, but when you have, look at Hendrick. I mean, he owns 4 teams legitimately, but he probably owns 15 of them out there.
Yep.
They're all running his stuff. It's just very frustrating, and I don't know how to stop it. But I have nothing against Rick Hendrick, but you can't. I mean, if you have 10 cars in the race, your cars are pretty good at winning it. And so, Joe Gibbs, and it's just. I wonder how much they're thinking about the health of the sport by dominating like that.
I think
it obviously hurts it. I mean, fans are losing interest real fast.
They are. I think it'd be really fun to have a couple races a year where you just draw your name out of a hat and draw a corresponding truck number out of the hat, and that's what you race that night. I think that would be great fun.
Yeah.
That would be really popular with the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Well, like IROC used to be.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
There's Ron Hornaday. I think it was Ron suggested that. Oh no, wasn't Ron. It was somebody else. I think it was Mike Harmon suggested that you get the Camping World truck guys like you guys get sort of sponsored or protege, so to speak, of a Hendrick or a Kozlowski or a Penske or whatever, and get extra help from these guys. But of course that's not practical in dollars and sponsorships, but it would be a way to draw interest, I think, back to the sport, either drawing of the numbers or sponsors or getting guys like you and Mike Harmon and lots of other ones up there in back. People love you guys, and they love watching you, and they love the stories behind you and the history, and everybody remembers your actions at Eldora, and forever you'll be known for that.
Yeah, I'd like to make my legacy something else, like a win at Daytona or something, or even a win at Eldora would be great. But NASCAR is missing the boat here with that. I still have a huge following. People call me, and it's just on the internet.
Oh, I bet.
I don't understand it. I don't understand how they want to. Because there's people. In fact, there were 4 guys in Martinsville that were huge fans of mine. That came over after I missed that race by 1 position. They came over and told me, "We're going home. We came here to watch you race, and we don't give a damn about the rest of the race." And I said, "Well, you need to go over to the NASCAR trailer and tell them." And they did.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks to social media, NASCAR fans are telling them, and they do listen. So we know that they're monitoring social media, and fans have caused some changes that were good, some not so good. But the trucks are one of them that people like as a feeder series and an entertainment series, and you bet your show will probably be one of the big shows.
Mm-hmm.
If it were up to me, every owner would be allowed to own 1 truck. Their sport doesn't need to have 4 or 5 trucks out there. Red Horse doesn't need to. They're big money, tough affiliated teams. I mean, that's a series for people to get a chance to get started in NASCAR, one of the top 3 series. You can't have these people dominating that series too.
No, it doesn't work for the fans, and it doesn't work for TV ratings. And NASCAR shaking their head at what they can do. Well, there you go. make it fun. Make it not so. Make it a story. Make it exciting. Nobody wants to see Kyle Busch win every race. Even Junior winning the race last week at Xfinity,
was not popular.
No. I mean, it's not just Kyle Busch, but it's other drivers too. I don't want to see any of those Cup drivers in those series ever. Period.
You make that level, you don't. I mean, and again, Kyle Busch got hurt real bad last February running Xfinity,
and
it cost him 8 or 9 races, and then but he doesn't need to take those chances in other series. He's made it to the mountaintop, and that's the way if I was in the Cup Series, I wouldn't be running those series.
No, and lots of drivers don't. There's just a handful that do.
You got to focus on the Cup Championship. You can't be distracted with other stuff. But Kyle Busch, I mean, I hate to keep talking about him, but he had 5 trucks at Daytona, and who knows how much money he made for those rides. And, but how much is enough?
Yes. Yes, you gotta, those 5 trucks take up 5 potential sponsors or more. So, those.
Had it not brought one of those trucks, that'd have been in the race.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. I know I was horribly disappointed that you didn't get in that. I was all set to cheer for you loudly.
I promise you, I had a top 10 in the race because my truck drafted really well, and I was really excited. I never dreamt I was going to miss the race.
No, that had to be a heartbreaker.
No, it's horrible. It's horrible.
It is. And how do you keep the energy up when you've missed these first bunch of races? Like, how do you keep going? How do you talk to yourself? How do you keep your spirits up?
It's a matter of principle with me. I know I'm as good as anybody out there. I just don't have the funding. I don't want to be chased out of the sport just because I don't have money.
No.
Big money. And so it's principle's got me in trouble before. It probably will again.
Well, it's your principle that the fans like, so.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
It is.
All this to happen.
If people want to sponsor you, why don't you tell us how they can go about that? Tell us all your places and things that they can get in touch with you.
Well, actually, I don't. I have a normbangracing.com website. Contact that. There's Twitter. There's a lot of different ways. They can just send a message. I actually have a phone number that they can. It's a 412-600-2943 cell phone number.
And they can contact you through there. And have you thought about having a fan truck?
I've had people talk to me about it. I haven't really looked into it that much, but.
Well, if you ever do, let us know, and we'll promote the crap out of it for you. We have a very far reach in social media with, probably 30,000 people. So there's that's a lot.
We've promoted several trucks and the ex-Fin cars.
Jeremy Clements, yep.
Jeremy Clements, he raced in Daytona with our fan things on it. So you might explore that.
Suggestions. Anything you might have.
We'll do the very best we can to help
Absolutely.
You get some attention there, and because we do want to see you racing. You're colorful. You're a man of the people.
Right, exactly. That's why it would be great to have a fan truck.
Well, I'm ready. I mean, whatever ideas you might have, just call me back and we can talk about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Is there anything you'd like to say before we let you go?
No, just that same thing. That I hope there's somebody out there that realizes we can run up front in these races, and we just have sponsorship.
Yeah,
that's the key to this deal. It's sad because again, if you're football or baseball or whatever, it's your talent here, it's equipment.
Yep, it always is. It always is. Well,
as good as your equipment.
We thank you for your time, and I know Buddy was really sorry that he had to miss this today, and he says thank you for coming on, and as do Maureen and I. We really appreciate it, and we'll promote the crap out of you.
Thank you very much, and maybe I'll see you at one of these races.
You will, I'm sure.
Eldora, maybe.
Yeah, wouldn't that be fun? Yeah, maybe we should all go to Eldora. We'll put the happy hour garage on your car.
Yep.
Well, thanks, Norm, very much. It's been very entertaining, and I wish you nothing but good luck in the future.
Yes, I'd be glad to come back on again if you need me, and we'll talk some more.
Fantastic.
All right. Thank you all very much.
We hope you've enjoyed hanging out in the Happy Hour Garage. Thanks for tuning in. Please join Shannon and Maureen next week for another episode of NASCAR news, interviews, and stories. Check out our website at www.happyhourgarage.com for our previous shows and see what's coming up next.